Það komið að Dog Sports Business og hingað mættur engin annar en Ferran Soriano, framkvæmdastjóri City Group. Það ræða við hann þessi félög sem að hann með og að sjálfsögðu Manchester City sem þetta stóra málið í þessu öllu saman. So, Ferran Soriano, welcome to Dr. Football.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
So let's just dive right into it. In the 70th minute, when Philippe Coutinho scored Aston Villa's second goal, and you had barely created a single chance. You had played all so well during that season, but it seemed to be all going the wrong way. Did you think, Ferran, I should have signed a striker?
No. This is not what I thought. I have to confess that I was worried, I was concerned. So first I started thinking about my role, I guess the CEO of the club. I have to be there to support when things go wrong. So I started to think, be calm, think about what do we need to do if we lose the game, how are we going to manage the disappointment. Mm-hmm. So I was mentally preparing for what was coming. Mm-hmm. But on the technical side, let me say, some people are saying your team is going to be great now with the addition of Haaland.
Yeah.
And I say, remember, we're going to play 11 players, not 12. Mm-hmm. So it's not the addition of Haaland. Mm-hmm. If you put a striker in our team, you have to take somebody out. Mm-hmm. And you have to take somebody out from a team that has been winning the Premier League 4 of the last 5, that has been breaking records in scoring goals. So the system as it is works. Mm-hmm. And it does not need a striker as it is. Mm-hmm. On the long term, and after Aguero left, we thought we needed a striker, and we thought we have the best striker possible now, but it's not an addition. Mm-hmm. If we play with a striker, with this striker, we will play without another player, and the system will have to adapt to that.
Mm-hmm. You have this fixed system of a 4-3-3, a Barcelona Johan Cruyff 4-3-3 at Manchester City.
Yeah, it's not always exactly 4-3-3, but this is the pillar, right? So mm-hmm. the basic pillars of the approach to football, sometimes we call it philosophy. Mm-hmm. The way we play football is always the same. High defensive lines, possession of the ball, wingers open. That's how we approach the game. By the way, in Manchester City and in all of our other teams around the world.
Mm-hmm. So, the inspirational player at the team that used to be Aguero is now maybe Kevin De Bruyne, and but you lost your Dr. No. Now I'm talking about your book. You lost Fernandinho. He's gone. Dr. No is gone. So nobody there to say no anymore. But Kevin De Bruyne, he always steps up, and he made this pass for the third goal, the winning goal. Is it true, for what we read in the newspaper here in Iceland, that he negotiated his own contract?
Yes. The majority of players use agents for that, and he didn't.
Okay.
He just used a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Kevin has become a leader in our club, and he's been growing and growing. He's a spectacular player on the pitch, but he's also a leader in the dressing room. He's a quiet leader, mm-hmm. But every time we need him, he's there. This was, so people don't remember, but the amount of money that we paid for him, I think in pounds, was 62 million. Mm-hmm. And there was a famous cover of one of the English newspaper with a picture of him, and it said the 62 million flop, mm-hmm. because they said Tiki was wrong to buy this player, and he was clearly right. So Kevin De Bruyne is now a legend at Manchester City, and he still has years to play, and he will be one of the key historical players of this club.
Absolutely. Just quickly about you, Ferran, before we speak more about Manchester City and City Football Group. You have a lot of experience in this market. You've been in football for 20 years now. Came into Barcelona in the summer of 2003, and what a summer that was. First summer working for Barcelona, obviously changed Barcelona, but you signed Ronaldinho that first year. If you had not signed Ronaldinho, and he would have gone to Manchester United, would you had Ronaldo at Barcelona?
I think it's a real possibility. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you the story. The story is we actually tried to sign Beckham. So just making the story short, at the time, FC Barcelona was in a very difficult situation, both economically and on the pitch. They won in the previous season. They qualified sixth to be able to play the Europa League at the time. They had a different name.
Yeah.
By qualifying sixth in the league, and the star of the team was an Argentinian player by the name of Saviola.
Yes.
So we tried to sign Beckham, and he decided to go to Real Madrid. He actually said to us, "I like you guys, but I want to go to a team that is already a champion team where I don't have the responsibility to turn this around." So then we went to Ronaldinho. But the same year, we actually signed a player from Sporting Lisbon, Quaresma. So there were two very good young players at the time at Sporting, Quaresma and Cristiano. And we paid 6 million for Quaresma, and he was very good. And we thought, actually, he became a very good player. But Cristiano Ronaldo wanted to come too. But at that time, Manchester United made an offer of 18 million, which seemed totally crazy. And we said, well, too much. So we made a mistake. But actually, we were very happy to find Ronaldinho, who was an extraordinary player on the pitch and also a leader, a character leader that helped us turn around Barcelona from losing games and losing money to winning games and making money.
He actually became the best player in the world, but it was, and he won you he was part of the team that won the Champions League in 2006, but his decline was quite fast. He's like a superstar. Like Messi and Ronaldo, they always had each other to compete. Maybe Ronaldinho was missing somebody to keep him on his toes.
That's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea because effectively he lost intensity and focus, and he was lost for the game. And Ronaldinho could have been one of the best players in the history of football.
So much talent there. But you go through this and you go through your Barcelona time in your book, The Goal, which is a fantastic book for anyone in management, even if it's football or not. But you think a lot about this summer in 2006, where you should have made some changes. Knew things were going wrong, but you did not, and the team had quite a decline over the next 2 years. And you also say you refused an offer for Ronaldinho in 2007 for 60 million euros, and you ended up selling him the year later for 20 million to AC Milan.
This is one of the challenges of this business, of the business of football. I've been in this business for many years now, but this is not what I started working on or what I learned. I've been in other industries. I've been in the telecom industry, in the fast consumer goods industry and fast-moving consumer goods industry, and also in aviation. Football is different because there is emotion. There's a degree of emotion that sometimes does not allow you to make the right decisions. And you're talking about a period where at FC Barcelona we went from nothing to win the league and the Champions League at the same year. So 1 year later we could see the decline in some of the elements of the team, but I would say we didn't have the guts to make the changes because there was emotion. I remember having a conversation with Frank Rijkaard and telling him, this is not working, you have to be stronger with the team and ask for more commitment and more work. And Frank Rijkaard said, yeah, I understand, but you know what? I love these players. So it's challenging, and decisions that should have been made in 2017, we made them late in 2018, and we spent 2 years without winning nothing, right? One bad decision was not to sell Ronaldinho for 60 million and then sell him for 25. But at the end, we reacted, right? And we we had to let Frank Rijkaard go, who was an excellent person and an excellent coach, but we needed a change. Pep Guardiola came, Ronaldinho left, Deco and others, and we started another cycle of winning.
But you know, since you're in Iceland, I need to talk to you in this famous summer of 2006, where there seemed to be some discipline problems in Barcelona. First game of the season, no Ronaldinho there, and so on. And Eidur Gudjohnsen rescued the team, scoring in the first game and winning you the game. You wanted Thierry Henry, but he didn't want to come to Barcelona at that time. He wanted to stay at Arsenal. Then Tiki Beckeristan wanted Diego Forlan, but Frank Rijkaard wanted Eidur Gudjohnsen. So when the manager, coach as you call it, and the head of football, like Tixi, when they argue about the player, one wants Forlan, the other one wants Gudjohnsen.
I'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the inside story. First of all, we won the league. We won the Champions League against Arsenal, and we had an agreement that Thierry Henry would come and join us, and we were celebrating the title at the Camp Nou, 100,000 people singing and enjoying themselves, and I got a call. So I stepped off, and this was the agent of Thierry Henry, and he said, I cannot believe what I'm going to tell you, but he's not coming. And I said, how come? He said, in the flight back, he was flying back from Paris to London after losing the final against us. He picked up the microphone and he said to the Arsenal fans, I'm so sorry we lost. We'll be back next year.
Oh.
So that's number one. Then the second conversation was a conversation between where Chiki was there and Frank Rijkaard, and it was a conversation about signing a striker. And the two candidates were, as you said, Gudjohnsen and Forlan. And there was some sort of a technical discussion where Forlan was a typical number 9, a typical striker. Gudjohnsen was more of a second striker, somebody that would come from behind. And Chiki thought the best option for us was Forlan. And Rijkaard thought it was Gudjohnsen. And it was a constructive conversation, they're good friends. But at the end, Rijkaard was saying, no, Gudjohnsen is stronger, it's going to be better for us, And at some point he said, okay, fine, and he left.
Okay.
So then Chiki and I sitting there, and Chiki said, you know what, this guy just won the league and the Champions League for us. If he wants Gudjohnsen, it will be Gudjohnsen.
Oh, okay.
So it's there's these situations, the decisions about the squad are ultimately made by the football director. In our case, Chiki Beckeristan. But he has to measure. He has to measure when can he take a decision that is different from what the coach thinks, and he has to measure. Sometimes it's one way or another. I think Chiki would say, and he said at the time, if we bring him Gudjohnsen, Frank Rijkaard is gonna hug him the first day, and everything will be fine. And this is what we need now. So in this case, Chiki considered.
Okay. You hire Pep Guardiola to Barcelona, and I'm going to leave Barcelona a little bit now, but you are from Catalonia, and Pep Guardiola is from Catalonia. You are similar age. You are a few years older than him. Did you know, like, since he was a young guy, that this Pep Guardiola, he's going to be he's a great midfielder, but he's also going to become a coach?
Everybody that played with Pep, including Chiki, would say that when he was a player, he was already obsessed about the game, about understanding what was going on. So they would explain it to you. This was a famous Barcelona team who won the Champions League at the time, and they would say some players would just go and play and not listen a lot to the coach. Some players would just listen to the coach according to, okay, what do I need to do? And Pep Guardiola wanted to know, how are we going to play? What do I need to do? And why do I need to do? And how does it fit with the overall thing?
Yeah.
Right. So he was a coach already, a manager at the time.
So you had him in mind for a long time.
Yeah, I think we should attribute this decision not to me but to Chiki. So ultimately, we were at Barcelona, and we are very disciplined in our teams at the City Football Group, that the football director is the boss, is the one who makes the recommendation and the decision about the coach. So at the time of Barcelona, we knew that Frank Rijkaard needed to go. There were several candidates. The two final candidates were Mourinho and Pep. And Chiqui came to one of the meetings, having done the analysis, and he said, my recommendation is Pep. He doesn't have the experience, but he has the talent, he has the commitment, he understands what this is, and he'll do well. And he was right.
He was right. Fast forward to 2012 when you joined the City Group, and you come this year, this famous year in Manchester City's history. They were so lucky winning the league. You don't like luck. You have no belief in, I always say, this guy was lucky, or, I can say, for instance, you were very unlucky in the Champions League this year. That's my opinion. But you were also quite lucky when you did not concede a penalty at Goodison Park when the ball went into Rodri's hand. So, why does luck not exist in football?
Because you have to make a difference between the short term and the long term. Luck exists in the short term, in the super short term.
Yeah.
So I could say that when we lost in Madrid 2-1, with them scoring 2 goals in 2 minutes in the minute 90, that's bad luck. But that's bad luck in that particular moment.
Yeah.
If you look at 5 years of war, 10 years of war, the luck compensates itself.
Yeah.
It's not about luck. It's about hard work and intelligence. And you need to have the patience and the mental strength to accept the bad luck when it comes, and I've seen a lot of bad luck, knowing that if I keep working hard, good luck will come naturally.
But you wasted no time in 2012. You got Tixi on board with you, and you hire in the summer Manuel Pellegrini. When you made Manuel Pellegrini the Manchester City coach, did you make him aware that, well, you're the coach now, but I have in my mind to get Pep Guardiola here once he becomes available?
Yes, what he knew was the reality, because Manuel is an extraordinary person, and we like him so much. And the reality of what happened, I can tell you, is that first we made a technical assessment that was done by Chiqui that told us we needed a new coach. And then we look at all the available candidates, and our preferred candidate was Pep Guardiola. So we spoke to Pep, and he said, I want to go to Bayern Munich. This is what I feel I have to do now for different reasons. I'm going to go to Bayern Munich. So we went to the second on the list, who was Manuel Pellegrini. So Manuel Pellegrini knew that we had spoken to Pep first. And this was natural, because both Chiqui and I had worked with Pep before. Then Manuel had a 3-year contract. The contract expired naturally. And I'd say 1 year before he expired, we told him, now Pep wants to come.
Yeah.
So he will come. And then Manuel, he was the one who decided, okay, I'm fine, let's say it. I don't have a problem.
Okay.
So it was a very natural transition.
In your book, you talk a lot about balance, commitment, and so on. You come in there at 2012. Is it a coincidence that players like Mario Balotelli and Carlos Tevez left so shortly after you arrived?
Yeah, I think it is a coincidence. So Balotelli was fighting with the coach at the time.
Yeah.
But it is true that we have learned over the years that a dressing room is a very small community where players have to be essentially good people, right? So they need to be good football players, but good people too. And they have to respect each other. And I don't remember any experience where we would have a player that would not behave appropriately, and that would be good for the team. It's always bad for the team. And I think if you ask Pep would tell you this: first, I want a good person, and then a good football player. Because a bad person, so a person that is not respectful or doesn't work or is not a team member, can destroy a team, can destroy a dressing room.
Well, the thing is that Manchester City has obviously dominated the Premier League now for the last 5 years. You won it 4 out of the last 5 times. You managed to get 100 points in a season, something we thought that was never possible. I was so lucky to follow the Manchester City team in Los Angeles before that season, because you came here and played a pre-season game in West Ham, so I was allowed to go in there and watch you guys, watch your team train. and the intensity was like nothing I've ever seen before. But there's one thing missing. That's the Champions League. So is it maybe, can you somehow view it as a good thing that you're not won the Champions League? Because, you know, it makes everyone work extremely hard every summer because, you know, hey, we need to get this one with the big ears.
Yeah, I think, let me tell you how we think about this. Obviously, we want to win the Champions League, and I'll be very happy the day that we will win it, because I think that we will win it. But we don't make this the core of our objective because of what I said, right? Luck plays a role in the Champions League because there are a handful of games and you can have a bad game in the semi-final and you're out. But it doesn't play a role in the league. So whoever wins the league is the best team in the league.
Yeah.
So we say internally, the league is our bread and butter. This is what we do for a living, the league. And the Champions League is an additional trophy that we won, but we know that it might be subject to a bit of luck. So we're not obsessed. And, you know, people talk now about the success that Real Madrid had in the last years, and I think it's fair to say that there was a bit of luck, right?
Yes,
so if you look at if you look, maybe, you know, I could say they deserve to lose against PSG, against Chelsea, against us, against Liverpool.
Yeah.
But people do not remember that in the 90s, in the 80s, Real Madrid had a fantastic team, one of the best in the history, with Butragueño, and they couldn't win, and they were knocked out of the Champions League every year by AC Milan. They had some good luck now, but they also had some very bad luck for years. So we're patient. This is not an obsession. We will win it at the right time.
Okay. Pep Guardiola has such a strange relationship with his main rival now in the league, with Jurgen Klopp, because they speak very respectfully of each other. They don't get engaged into some war of words or anything, because one of the things that maybe drove him out of La Liga was his very intense relationship with Mourinho, a relationship that also went into the Spanish national team, a relationship that might be, you know, in the future there will be TV shows, movies, books written about this tension. So you think it maybe helps that you know, it's a different environment in England. He maybe enjoys this a little bit more.
Yeah, I think Klopp and Pep, they respect each other the way it should be, right? And in general, I would say that coaches, managers, they respect each other, and they all understand that the only rivalry happens on the pitch. And of course, you respect the winner, and that's the way it goes, and that's the way it should be. I think the history that you mentioned between Pep and Mourinho, it was due to things that happened off the pitch. Actually, Pep said that. At some point he said, off the pitch, he wins, in a famous press conference. On the pitch, I'll try to win, right? The relationship that I've seen among the managers in the Premier League is excellent.
Yeah. You brought in Pep Guardiola in the summer of 2016. What did Manchester United do? We brought in Mourinho. But this summer, let's focus on the present, and we'll come shortly on to City Football Group. But this summer, you and Tixi went to your favorite shop, the Bundesliga. You love that shop. You go there to Germany to shop every year and buy very good things. You know, you have had obviously Kevin De Bruyne, Sane, Gundogan, who was Pep's first signing, and before you came, Vincent Kompany came there, and Deco and so on. But this time, Erling Haaland, and he's the first superstar, actually, if you know, superstar you have signed to Manchester City. How excited are you to have Erling Haaland on board?
I must say we're very, very excited, but I want to tell you honestly that all the football decisions, all the signing decisions, are taken through a football lens, not a marketing lens or not a celebrity lens. So we think Chiki and Pep and the whole group, they think very carefully about the players that they need for the team, and this is what they sign. So in this case, it happens to be that Haaland has a profile. I think you are right that he has developed this profile as a superstar. But this is not the reason why we signed him. We signed him because we think that he's going to score a lot of goals and that he has the intelligence to adapt to our system. Right? The system is very complex. So when you said you saw the intensity in the training, if you would see the intensity in the way they discuss how are they going to play, it's very sophisticated. So you need to be a very sophisticated player to be able to adapt to this. And we think that Haaland will do. But I promise you, it's a football decision. It's not a marketing or celebrity decision.
I can understand that. I mean, Norway is not a big market, so why would that be a commercial decision to sign a Norwegian player?
Yeah. I think going back to the Bundesliga, the Bundesliga is a very good league, and it's physical, but there's also a lot of talent, right? And I don't think we have a special focus on the Bundesliga, but it's true that we've been successful signing very good players. I want to tell you something about luck now.
Yeah.
I just remember this.
Okay.
So you said we won against Aston Villa and we won the league, and maybe we were lucky after minute 78.
Yeah.
So let me point out two things. Pep Guardiola made 2 changes. Sterling, who crossed for the first goal.
Yes, and there was luck there because Matti Cass slipped the same time he made the cross, so the ball went over to Gundogan.
Okay.
Okay.
But the substitution created the chance. But more importantly, Gundogan. At the end of the game, there's an interesting interview where they were asking Pep, why did you choose Gundogan? And he was saying he has special intelligence to be at the right place at the right time on the second line. So, and when you see it, he was saying it, and you could see the images of Kevin De Bruyne on the third goal, and you see how when Kevin De Bruyne starts to run, Gundogan starts to run.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where the ball is going to be, but he starts to run. So ultimately, this was a good decision to put the right player at the right time.
Yeah. So no luck involved.
No luck.
No luck there. Negotiating with a superstar like Haaland, how long did it take? Because you speak a lot about in your book about coming over prepared for meetings and negotiations. You need to be over prepared because the agents only have one job. They are thinking about this all year, about this one deal. So you need to come over prepared for it. How long was this process to get
long? It was long because everybody knows that Haaland could have gone anywhere, right? So many clubs, all the rumors. It was a transparent situation because he had a release clause, so he could leave from Dortmund.
Yeah.
It didn't need any negotiation, and a lot of clubs were wanting to sign him. So he made the decision, and he made a well-informed decision based basically on football criteria. Where are we going to play? Where am I going to play? How am I going to play? How am I going to work with this coach? So it was a football decision because the financial decision was not the challenge. The fee with Dortmund was agreed in the release clause, and a lot of clubs wanted to pay the salary that he gets. I think there is also an important point. His father, Alfie Haaland, who is a former football player, obviously very smart and understands football, understands the Premier League, understands Manchester City because he played at Manchester City. So he was a good advisor to his son.
Yeah. So when you're dealing with a superstar, it's not one agent; it's a whole team behind.
Definitely.
So,
but in this case, I'd say the key point was the technical discussion about football and about how is he going to fit into this machine that works. Remember, so you said it. We won 4 leagues out of 5. We scored so many goals. He had to feel, and he feels now, that he could get into this system and perform.
You think he can set some records there? Be the first guy to score more than 40 goals in a Premier League season?
I can say that. The one thing that I would say for all the Manchester City fans, and I know there are a lot in Iceland, is we'll have to be patient. So anybody getting into our team needs time.
Okay. No goal after 14 games. You still relaxed?
Yes.
Okay. So, but how confident are you about his health? Like, he only started 21 games in the Bundesliga this year.
Yeah, obviously we looked at this with detail, and we are convinced that he is fit and that he can play at the maximum level. This is just a medical conversation, and we've done every check that we could do, and we're confident.
Okay, that's very interesting. And but looking ahead, I mean, you have this relationship with FC Barcelona. Obviously, you, Tixi, and Pep, the three of you worked at Barcelona and so on. We know about the difficulties at Barcelona. Everybody knows about it. Barcelona has players which, when I watch them play, they are Pep players. With Pedri, with Gavi, with Ansu Fati. But sometimes I feel like it's maybe out of respect that you do not bid for them, or
No.
no.
We have a normal commercial relationship with Barcelona. We sold them a player 6 months ago, Ferran Torres, and if we have to do business, we would do it. But the reality is that we're starting from a position of strength. The current squad is very good, so we need to change only what we need to change, and we need to change two things. We need a striker, we have it, and we need a replacement for Fernandinho.
You need a Dr. No.
Yes, we have one, Rodri.
Yes.
But we need another because the season is very long. So we're only looking at these two players. So at Barcelona there's no striker, and there's no, we call it a number 6 or a holding midfielder.
Yeah.
All these players that you mentioned are very good players, but we have these positions more than covered. Not only with the top players, experienced players that we have, but others that are coming, like Palmer or McAtee. These are very young English players with a bright future.
Yeah.
The same bright future of the players that you mentioned from Barcelona.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now you're creating your own superstars within your Manchester City academy. Obviously with Phil Foden now being one of the faces of Manchester City.
Phil Foden is a spectacular example of a boy that has been in our academy from when he was 10 years old, and he's a Manchester City fan. But if I may say, this year we won the Premier League. We won the Premier League 2, which is the under 21, and we won the under 18. And last year we won the 3 again. Yeah. Right. So there is a long list of very good young players that have been winning with Manchester City and that are coming up. And there'll be some stars there.
I've been visiting Manchester now since 1996, coming there every year for Manchester United games and sometimes Manchester City, and I can see the improvement in the area around Manchester City. You made the people there rich because you have the housing prices gone up the roof, and was that something that you were aware of when you came there, that you wanted to invest in the community? Because this is a great change since like the first time when I went around the Etihad.
Yeah, this is in the DNA of Manchester City. If you look at the history of the club was funded by a church, right? And there's this famous story of the daughter of the vicar who said at some point, we're talking now at the end of the 19th century, and she said, in the times of the Industrial Revolution, very difficult times in England and in Manchester, and she said, boys and men, when they stop working the factories on Saturday afternoon, the only thing they do is to fight and to drink. We need to do something. And they created a football team and a cricket team. Yeah. So that's in the spirit of the club, and the club does a lot with the community, and you're right that the Etihad Stadium was in a very tough environment, a very difficult area of Manchester, a poor area and an industrial area, and now it's flourishing.
Yeah, it's absolutely flourishing, and if you speak to the people there, they are very happy with what you've done for the community. But City Football Group is not only about Manchester City, though my main interest is in Manchester City. You have a lot of football clubs around the world. You have a club in New York, and when you started out, there were stars in New York City. You had David Villa, you had Frank Lampard, you were bringing in famous names. When I look at the New York City team that became champions now, I'm obsessed with football. I watch too much football, but I don't know many names there. I watched you when you won you are the MLS champions now. But your approach seems to have changed a little bit. You are becoming like a development team, or like I look at the average age of the team and so on. And this new
Yeah, I can tell you the story. So first of all, remember that this team was created from scratch, right? So there was nothing.
Yeah.
They didn't exist.
No.
The first day we went to New York in 2012, there was nothing. So we had to create a team, a badge, a name, a color, everything.
Yeah.
So we're very proud of
where did the idea for color come from?
The idea is an old idea. It's in my book. It's a 2005 idea.
Okay.
So we finally made it happen, and we thought, so New York is a very difficult place because there's so much to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's the capital of entertainment in the world. And we thought at the time, how are we going to make sure that people are going to look at this, at a soccer team? And we thought we need some stars to call the attention. And we did call the attention. And we brought David Villa, Frank Lampard, Andrea Pirlo. I think it's fair to say that David Villa made an extraordinary contribution. He was the best player in the MLS for sure.
Yeah.
But Pirlo and Lampard, they had a lot of injuries and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But we did call the attention. At a certain point, we thought, we don't need to call the attention anymore. We need to play good football and we need to win. And we're doing this with young players, also because this is the budget that we have. So the size of the business does not allow us to pay for very expensive players. So we're looking at young players, and we already have some stars, right? So we have Valentin Castellanos, is an Argentinian player who won the Golden Boot, and he is a star by his own merit, and is very young.
And you are obviously the MLS champions now. Did it with an Icelandic player, Guðmundur Þórarinsson included. One of the things that was surprising to me, because I'm so fascinated with America and how the MLS is standing outside of FIFA and so on, is that Ronny Deila, the New York City manager, he leaves from New York to go to Standard. Why would anybody, if you live in New York, why would you go to Belgium to live there?
This is a very good question that you should ask him, because I think the same. I think, New York, for anybody in New York, you live in a great city.
Yes.
We have a fantastic training ground. We have 25,000 people watching the games.
Yes.
We're the champions. I mean, I would want to live there.
Yeah, me too.
Not in Liège.
No.
But we respect him. He's done very good with us.
Yes.
And he wants to go. I think he wants to be closer to home, and we respect that.
You've also done very well in Australia with your clubs there. Obviously, have also focus on Asian countries, Japan.
Yeah, we have today 11 football clubs in 11 different countries, in America, in Europe, and in Asia. And each club has different personality and different functions. Our club in Uruguay obviously is focusing on developing players. Uruguay is a very small country.
Yeah, it's 3.5 million or something.
Yeah. But they won the World Cup twice, so they probably have very good players. So I think if you do a ratio, good football players, or football players playing, I've done this, football players playing in the top 5 leagues versus population, Uruguay is number 1.
Yes.
By far.
Yes.
Other places like India, they're Indian players that are developing, but none of them has the level to go to Europe there. So it's a different play. It's more, we are in Mumbai, the capital of entertainment of India. So in different places in the world, we have different strategies. But I have to say that this season has been our best season ever. And we're so happy because we won the league, not only in the US, but also, of course, in England. We won the league in Bolivia. Yeah. We've won the league in this last 18 months in India. So we won a lot of leagues, but also we got achievements like last Sunday, our team in Spain, Girona is a very nice city, north of Barcelona, got promoted to La Liga.
You beat my team, Tenerife.
Oh yeah, is it your team?
Yeah, I always go to Tenerife every year to support. No, just for Sun, but I was following it because I was hoping to get La Liga games to Tenerife.
Okay, you can come to Girona. You're invited. And Also, we just checked this yesterday because with this Girona game, it was the last game of our season.
Yeah.
And we had 7 of the 11 clubs had the chance to qualify for regional competitions, being Champions League or CONCACAF Champions League or Asian Champions League, and the 7 of them got it done. So we had a great season.
In terms of the women's game, the City Football Club has done very well with the female team at Manchester City, but you're going through great changes there. The player there's a lot of players going in and going out at the moment.
Yeah, I think we are very focused on the women's game. It's the level of quality keeps improving and improving. I think if you watch an English league game, you would see more and more high quality players. The business is growing little by little.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of Manchester City, we won the league several times and we won the cup last year. And this year, for whatever reason, there are 3 or 4 players leaving, but there are 3 or 4 new players coming. Very good and very young players. So we feel positive about this.
Actually, Iceland is coming over to Manchester to play.
Yes. And they will use our facilities, so we'll have your team there.
Yeah. Well, the one of the things of in your book, you talk a lot about the 3 different parts of incomings for football teams, and one of them is the stadium. You are playing at the track and field stadium now in Etihad, which was the Commonwealth Games. Have you ever thought about moving and building a new stadium?
No. We actually have improved the Etihad Stadium several times. Of course, the track is not there anymore, and we have expanded one of the stands, the south stand, and we're now planning to expand the north stand. So what we want to do is to keep growing in the same place.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the season? It's starting extremely early this year. We are going to have a strange break. There's going to be a time from November to December where Erling Haaland, who doesn't go to the World Cup, he's not. What are you going to do with him? Are you going to send him to Tenerife to me? Or?
You know what? The reality is nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. We've done a lot of analysis and research and calculation, but we don't know. The fact that the season starts 1 week earlier, it's a bit unfortunate for anybody that wants to take some holidays. And at the time we will be playing, and some of the fans will still be on holiday. But the great unknown is, as you said, how are we going to manage these 6 weeks out?
Yeah.
We will have most of our players in the World Cup.
Yeah.
So obviously the next question is, how are they going to come back? Because if you play, the players that got to the final or to the semi-final will have no rest. Our first game is the 26th of December. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, and quite frankly, nobody in the industry, nobody in the world of football knows how it's going to go and how to manage it.
Why, in your opinion, because you've worked so closely with the La Liga and so on, why is the Premier League king? Why is it why is Premier League the envy of everybody?
I think there are historical reasons.
Yeah.
So the Premier League was always ahead, right? And some of these are also historical reasons. And as you know, the English culture is spread around the world. The idea of the Commonwealth, I don't know to what extent it exists from a political point of view, but it exists from a cultural point of view. You go to Australia and they think about European football, they think about England. Yeah. But the same happens in Hong Kong, right? So the Premier League was the first league to be professionally organized and take advantage of that and create a game that is exciting and that is not thought only for the domestic audience, but globally. So other leagues are trying to do this. La Liga is maybe the second, and then Bundesliga, but they're just behind. It's a question of, as I said, of culture, history, and professional management.
But the very interesting thing is that you have grown so much in the last few years, in the last 10 years, that of all your fan base, 1% of them lives in Manchester. That was a survey I read a few weeks ago. So you are so globalized football team you have in
Yes.
have in Manchester.
Yes, but this applies to the league, the Premier League as a whole. When you look at the total audience of the Premier League, the audience in England, it's never more than 10%. 90% of the audience is elsewhere. And sometimes this is a challenge for people managing clubs and managing the league because if you ask a marketing person in a Premier League club, who's your client, they might tell you, they might think about a local English person that goes to the game. But a lot of their clients are in China or in Iceland. And we need to be able to connect to them and to engage with them and to deliver the product to them.
Ferran, you've been all over the world for football, and is there some one place that you feel like when you're there you like, this is football? Like, where is your, what is the, is there any place that comes to your head and you go like, this is it?
There are many, but there's one thing I think that is impossible to reproduce elsewhere, which is South America.
Yeah.
You go to Argentina, and so the difference is, let me expand a bit of this. The difference is that in England, football is a sport, and people talk about the sport, and they enjoy and they watch, but it's not an integral part of their life.
Okay.
If you live in Argentina, the first question, if you know somebody, is what's your name? But the second question is, what is your team?
Yeah.
Right? So the teams are embedded in the fabric of societies, and they're part of their life. And the passion that through they live this is unbelievable, it's crazy. And it makes it a bit magic, right? So this is not only in Argentina, it happens in other places, also in Turkey as an example, but
yeah.
Go attend the River Plate Boca Juniors game, and you'll see this is not football; it's something else.
So you're growing the City brand and the City Football Group all the time. You know, most teams, most clubs, they go to Thailand, go to America. What are you doing in Iceland?
I know the passion that exists in Iceland. And we want to be closer to Icelandic fans.
Yes.
I just want to get to know them. We're bringing the trophy. I think you tell me, but the thing is, the first time that the Premier League trophy is in Iceland, and I want to establish a long-term relationship with football fans in Iceland, and also with teams and federation and so on, because I think it's a place where football will grow.
Yeah.
And I love it. I'm here often, so I love Iceland.
You're often here in Iceland?
Yeah, I've been here as a tourist several times.
Okay, so it's not often we have football royalty coming to Iceland. It's the clubs want to go to Asia to expand or to America to expand. We never get representatives from one of the big ones, if you like.
I am very happy to be here, but I'll tell you a little anecdote.
Yeah.
So, some Icelandic fans went to Manchester to watch the Manchester City-Liverpool game. So I was talking to them, and they were asking me, have you been to Iceland? And I said, yes. I went, the last time I went, I tried fly fishing, and I fished nothing.
Yeah.
So, and they told me, okay, if you come to Iceland, we'll take you fly fishing, and you will fly something. And I said, okay, if we win the Premier League, I'll come with a trophy.
Okay, so you're...
And here I am with a trophy.
Oh, very good. I think I'll kind of let you, you have a very busy schedule ahead, Ferran, but it was an absolute pleasure of discussing this City Football Group and obviously Manchester City, which is of everyone's interest here in Iceland.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.